Now, once we've manually configured everything we want here and we've entered our password and everything else we need, we can look at our wireless network properties to confirm our security type, our encryption type, and then we can choose our authentication method. Are we going to use PEEP, EAP? What are we using here for our authentication method? Now, this depends on the type of authentication used by what? Used by the Radius server. Notice this is WPA2 Enterprise connection we're looking at now. When we go with Enterprise, that means that what? We have our AP. I'm going to do a really poor drawing. Forgive me. That's connected to our wireless LAN controller. And then our wireless LAN controller is connected to what? Some type of Radius server. Usually ICE. I'll just put ICE here. And the ICE is authentication, accountability. It gives us the ability, that AAA server, right? So we need to connect to it through an EAP process. You have to choose the EAP process here. In this case, they're using PEEP, Protected Extensible Authentication Protocol. And that means that the server in the background is going to respond to that. So we have the 802.1x settings that we're allowed to do through our advanced settings option. This allows us to specify our authentication mode. It also allows us to take a look at single sign-on if that's available. Now here you can see that we can verify a server's identity by validating the certificate. We talked about the certificates, right? So if you weren't there for the certificate conversation, you need to find that lesson on certificates and review the EAP process, right, where we're exchanging certificates. So we're looking for the certificate that matches. Here you can see secured password, EAP MS Chat version 2, automatically use my Windows name and password and domain, if any. So if I log on to a domain with a piece of equipment, I can use this check mark to say, oh, that's the password and everything used to log on to this access point as well. So the Active Directory that is tied to my domain is tied to that Radius server and is used for authentication to the wireless access point as well. I can configure right here and say automatically use Windows logon name and password to my domain, right? The Active Directory domain. As long as that's also synced in with my Radius server, I can use that for authentication for my wireless access. So no need to enter other passwords here unless your Active Directory is not synced up with your Radius server. Okay, so that's for a fully integrated domain or Active Directory server with your Radius server. This is how that would be configured. Okay. Many of you use this in your enterprise environment, so it's not much of a stretch, but I wanted to show you where to find this, right? In our advanced settings, we can see protected EAP properties. We have all these available options to us. The trusted root certificates are right here at the top, so those are the ones we trust. We can select our authentication method. You can see it's EAP MS Chat version 2. That's for a Microsoft Active Directory, right? That's what they use. MS CHAP, Challenge Handshake Authentication Protocol. MS stands for Microsoft. So Microsoft's Challenge Handshake Authentication Protocol, used by Active Directory, we're going to use that same domain that's used for our equipment to join our access points as well. So many different options we've given you here to personalize or put a profile into Windows 8. We started with just a regular personal manual connection, right? It's all personal. Then we dived into the enterprise type where we actually chose enterprise. We went to the security portion. We set up our security, our encryption, and then choose authentication. We had our advanced settings right here. And when we jumped into our advanced settings, we saw, see, we're at our advanced settings. We saw we could specify authentication mode. We could enable single sign-on. We also had the protected EAP properties with our certificates and our ability to link it to our domain, our enterprise domain. Okay. So that's 8.